Hello, everybody. Welcome into the 39th episode of the Penny Bloom Podcast.
Number 39.
39. Last week, we talked Jojo Rabbit. This week, we're going to talk about Ad Astra. Good movie.
Yeah, definitely a transition.
Definitely.
You know,
like 100%.
We're trying to help you all, though. You know, we're going
all over the place.
Hard movie. We're going like
next week. It's going to be American Pickles. So you don't never know where we're at.
Right. You know, it's just how it's got to go sometimes.
Sometimes it just got to. So Ad Astra today. We're also going to talk a new segment called Pick 4, in which we picked 4 albums, and with those albums, we have to match them with movies. Any movie of our choosing. We just had to go based off whatever we felt. You know, based off a vibe. Perhaps.
Based off of vibe.
Perhaps
mostly
off
a vibe.
Themes.
Yeah.
Themes of the movies and themes of the albums. You never know with this. I mean, we've got each our own picks for these albums, and it's going to be a fun one. And then we're going to talk about the Season 2 premiere of Umbrella Academy, which we will be following for the next several weeks. I dig that.
Yes, indeed. Packed show.
It's going to be a packed show. What have you been up to?
Well, you know, last 2 days, not much.
Not much?
No,
yeah. Yeah, you know, nothing's changed for me, really. I've just been planning the podcast.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Went to work, came back.
I've ruined my sleep schedule. I haven't gone to sleep through the night in a while.
Man, that's rough.
I don't know why. It just hasn't worked out for me.
I've been rewatching Westworld with Trent and Keaton.
I've been watching the Sopranos. I finished season 1.
Oh. I've heard that after season 1 especially it picks up. Like season 1 was great, don't get me wrong, but like it was like they definitely felt like that was establishing who the characters are, and then after that it's just it just goes crazy.
That's what it kind of felt like too. It's a good show. Like if you ever just want to like try something, just you're going to just watch that first episode and you're going to be like, this isn't too bad.
All right. All right. One thing I've heard about the first episode of that show in particular is that they had Tony Soprano wearing a fat suit, and it seems terribly obvious that he's wearing a fat suit compared to the next several episodes.
Oh, wow. I thought about that, though, because I've definitely looked at the dude and been like, he looks like he's like, his weight is just like all over the place.
Fluctuating. It's because he was like, for the first couple seasons, he wore a fat suit, and then he got to a point where, like, one day he came on set for, like, season 3, and they were like, we don't need you to wear the fat suit anymore. Which is just, like, imagine. Like, you've been wearing a fat suit every day. He's like, all right, I'm here to get my fat suit. And they're like, you don't you don't need it today, buddy.
You're good.
Man, I mean, like.
Yeah, but, you know, that's just how age goes.
It is. So we got a good show today. Looking forward to it. Leave us a rate, review, comment, anything, as long as it's good on the Apple Podcast page, because that'll help us grow.
Yeah, definitely.
Share us with a friend, please.
Please.
Pretty
please.
We just hit our 1,000th download the other day.
Where were we at, like, before?
Before what?
Like, we put out the other episodes. Do you know?
So, like, since we, like, came back?
Yeah.
I don't know exactly, but we were gaining some downloads while we were on our hiatus too. Really? Yeah.
Interesting.
We were still getting, like, because we took 4 months off and we jumped in downloads in that time.
Okay.
So even when we're not doing much promotion, even when we're not putting out episodes very often, we're still getting some clicks. And I think that's cool. So leave us a rate and review. Enjoy the show. Roll that tape.
Welcome to the Penny Bloom Podcast. Ain't another place that has got more bombast. Romp past your mom, dads, listening to Tomcats, talking everything that make you sad. We don't want that. We're here to make you smile. Put your mind at ease. Peace, love, and bloom, and always praise Keanu Reeves. This what we about. Get some weed and now. We'll talk until we can't no more, and then we peacing out. Alright, let's go. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast.
So let's start with Ad Astra. Overall, give me your feelings on this movie.
It was good. I enjoyed that. I watched it. It was like, I don't know how to explain it. It was one of those movies that you really just got to get into the vibe of like the what the message is. Like, you're just trying to get down, like, sort of like, where are they taking me? Because like when I started it, I was just kind of like, what kind of like world are we living in?
Yeah, it's just capitalism expanded into space.
Yeah, no, that's literally it. Capitalism, militarism. Like, I was just like, this is like, I get what this is. This is like almost like a dystopian version of the future, basically, wherein like the human spirit of adventure just continues to like run wild unchecked and causes a bunch of other problems. And
absolutely, and one of the problems that is exemplified in the movie is that Ruth Nega's character, where she's like, I remember Earth. I was there once when I was a child. Yeah,
right.
She's lived on Mars ever since. And I mean, like, cool if they'd, like, civilized Mars. It's she's lived in a military base for her whole life. Yeah. That's devastating.
That is sad. That's saddening. Yeah, for sure. But I mean, it's, you know, I guess you got to pay the price to be the...
A child of Mars?
Yeah, a child of Mars. I don't fucking know, but
it's kind of dope though. If you could like call yourself a child of Mars.
That shit about the blanket though, like the $125 blanket, that was some bullshit. I'm like, yo,
oh,
this is where
dude,
the world
he's like,
gets.
can I get a pillow and blanket for this flight to the moon? And he's she's like, yes, that'll be $125. He's like, yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, no doubt.
He's like, yeah, for sure, I got you. Like, I know he was flying commercially on that. Okay, we'll get to it later. Right. I'm going to give you a little bit of a summary of this movie, all right? In the near future, massive power surges start having devastating consequences around Earth. Astronaut Roy McBride is informed that his father, renowned astronaut Clifford McBride, may still be alive after previously heading out into space for the Lima project, which was meant to detect other intelligent life. Roy is tasked with finding Clifford, and after the Lima... Roy is tasked with finding Clifford after the Lima base was detected on Neptune. So, he's headed out to Neptune. In theory. Roy joins a crew on... fucking A. I cannot read. Roy joins a crew to a base on Mars so that he may send messages to Neptune in an attempt to communicate with Clifford. He is taken off the mission when he tries to appeal to Clifford emotionally. The base's director, Helen Lantos, Ruth Nega, shows Roy a video that reveals Clifford went mad on the base and killed his crew after they mutinied and tried to go back to Earth. That footage was devastating.
Yeah, that was.
Because up to that point, he'd had this idea that his dad was a hero. He went out looking for intelligent life. Then he sees this video where his dad had lost his mind. It was basically like, you know, they wanted to head back. They wanted to give up. But I couldn't let that happen. And I was like, oh my God.
He's like, so I killed them all, innocent and guilty. And I was like,
yeah, he was like, you know, so I took him out. Innocent along with the guilty. And I was like, wait a minute.
Why?
What? I mean, either way, you shouldn't just like let these people float off into space. Right. But I mean, you just lost your fucking mind, man. Roy gets on the ship heading to Neptune, and the crew gets killed as they try to detain him. That was a scene that was kind of rough too. Yeah, where he snuck onto the ship and then was like, what was dumb is they were like, apprehend him no matter what. We're about to take off.
Yeah, that was...
Sit in your fucking seat.
I don't know.
Wait until you're in space, then take this man out.
I think that is kind of just a reflection of like how they like...
blindly follow orders?
Yeah, the control factor that's present there. Like they're still, like, even though they're astronauts, they're still in the military.
Yeah. You're expendable to the people above you.
Yeah.
A human sacrifice ritual. One might say.
One might say.
Or a shirt might say that I have. Roy makes it to Neptune and finds the Lima base, which he plans to destroy with nuclear payload. He finds Clifford, who still hasn't given up hope that the project could be a success. As they try to head back, Clifford instead chooses death by drifting away from Roy into space. Roy carries on and destroys the Lima base, which helps him get back home. Roy concludes that humans are the only intelligent life and inspires him to stay connected to those closest to him, including his wife Eve.
That was his wife?
I can't remember if it was his ex-wife or his wife.
Okay.
At one point, they were married.
Okay, yeah.
At the very least.
I kind of figured. That was... I didn't really like that. It was like, it was almost necessary that they have, like, the long-lost relationship that he fucked up. Like, okay, like, yeah, but, like, it was so cliche how they presented it. Like,
well, and it wouldn't have been as cliche if, like, that had been a more relevant part of the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you knew this guy was sad.
Yeah.
Like he was focused. Like that was a big part of it. His psych evaluations. He was like, I'm focused. I'm driven on my goal. I'm not focused on anything else.
Yeah.
And that was his problem. He just pushed all his shit down and didn't even acknowledge it.
Yeah.
And then, if we would have seen that he was like at least torn up about basically choosing work over his wife.
Yeah.
But it didn't seem like that at all throughout any part of the movie.
You couldn't really read him though. That was kind of the issue.
That was also part of the point.
Yeah,
is
definitely.
That this man was supposed to be impossible to read.
Did you ever watch Arrival?
I did not. I want to talk about that on the podcast.
Now I'm saying we should maybe watch one of that movie soon. But they do something similar to that in that movie, but it's like it's very, very connected to the central
plot.
to the point of the movie, like because they have like these flashbacks that are just unexplained, and you're like, oh, you lost somebody, oh, you're sad about it, and then like you never like talk about it or whatever, and we just kind of get these glimpses, but like it was like actually very integral to the story that those were there. But this one, it felt kind of just like
felt secondary.
Yeah, definitely.
I guess the point, or one of the points of the movie was like to show how much this journey had changed him.
Yeah.
Obviously, he went through intense isolation, which I hadn't really taken into factor just now when I was talking about that. He was alone for months, going absolutely insane. And
I think that's kind of the central question of the movie is, are we alone? Like that's just like the question that the movie is trying to answer. In terms of just like what I think thematically the movie was doing, I think what it was. I'll just read what I wrote. I was like.
Is that how you started?
No.
Oh, I was going to say, if you literally wrote, I was like, I'm going to love it.
No. I said, ultimately ad Astra, which means to the stars.
Yeah, in Latin.
Yeah. Attempts to bridge the gap between reality and the unknown. It exposes the dangers of the unquenchable thirst for discovery and expansion. Roy McBride, the pseudo-passive observer of the ramifications of militarism and capitalism combined with globalism, takes these elements and allows them to be abstracted throughout the movie into concrete events, including space pirates, moon tourism, and generally organizational manipulation. All for the sake of discovery. I believe that the film offers a twofold response to the central question of are we alone? Those being no, because yes.
Because yes. That was an extremely good analysis of the movie. You pretty much covered it all right there.
Yeah, that's what I was just like. This is like, it seems like there was like a very central like message
and concise message.
Yeah, to what
and
they
got it across very well, very well.
No, very well, because like
props to James Gray, the writer and director of this movie.
Yeah, it's all about like when we go to space, like what is it actually going to look like the space pirates thing, I think was probably my favorite part of the movie. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, dude, the space pirate thing where he shot the driver straight through the face.
Yeah, I was like, fuck. That's what because that's pretty early.
That was the
on.
most intense action scene of the movie.
Oh, it was,
and it was one of my favorite space scenes of any movie. And I'm a fucking huge fan of Star Wars, so that's saying something.
You're just watching that like this is dope because they're dealing with zero, like they're dealing with moon gravity. Like I'm like, this is like super cool,
super cool. Yeah, I was listening to a podcast with Neil deGrasse Tyson on it. It was called Smartless, and he was oh shit, I can't remember where I was going with that. Never fucking mind. That sucks. Oh my god, you were just talking about it. My bad.
Happens.
It does, but yeah, I mean, it was just a really, really good movie.
Yeah, I think that the weekend.
Oh, I got it back. What Neil deGrasse Tyson was talking about.
Okay.
We were talking about you were saying how you're wondering what it looks like when we actually go to space and whatever. And he was talking about how we won't go to the moon and we won't go to Mars until there is capital to be made.
Yeah. Yep.
He's like, until a different country goes, we're going to build a military base on Mars, then America will get to Mars in 6 months.
Yeah.
Like, that's just, and he was like, I'm certain of it. Like, that's exactly how it would go.
Yeah, Neil deGrasse Tyson is a very smart man.
He's like, as soon as one country goes, you know what, fuck it, this is what we're going to do.
There's no incentive. There's no, like, it's like money is what pushes people to literally move. Like,
it is.
To wake up in the morning and to go do something, there has to be, like, there's usually a motive behind it. And, like, it works the same way with the government. Like, the government's not going to move until there's money involved.
Yeah.
Or risk involved, I guess. The risk of losing
money.
Yeah,
the
money.
risk of losing money. We'll make a move too. Not people. Send all the kids back to school.
Send all the kids back to school.
But yeah, I think the movie conveyed exactly what the expansion into space would probably be like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
Because it would literally, the only things that would motivate us to go out there are military and capitalism. Mm-hmm. That's it.
And also another interesting thing about that is that one of the biggest or the first things that they talk about is like the space pirates, and it's like crime quite literally follows like the exploitation of land. Like when someone goes, hey, this is mine, somebody else goes, hey, I'm going to do whatever I want here. Like, exactly. It doesn't even matter if it's on the fucking moon. They will build the rovers, they will get the suits, and they will, I wonder like where these people live. Like, they can't have housing developments on the moon.
Well, fuck if I know. What if they're just like lounging around in their fucking spaceships? They live on the Millennium Falcon. I mean, it was a good movie.
It was. I think the what keeps Interstellar, above this for me is there's one, the visuals, and two, the science. The science is completely bullshit in this movie. Like, it doesn't make any sense at all. It doesn't make sense. Like, he goes, I'm gonna blow this nuke up, and then the nuke is gonna launch me
from Neptune to Earth,
billions of miles, 2-point-something billion miles. What?
This explosion will propel. I mean, 0G. Therefore, there is no inertia.
Yeah.
Or infinite inertia. I don't know which one it would be because he'd never stop because there's nothing resisting him.
Yeah.
So I mean, eventually he'd probably get there. But I mean,
I tend to believe he would have blown up in the explosion before he just got propelled.
That man was like
across the universe,
surrounded in that fucking light.
I know. I'm like, this doesn't.
It was cool that's what we were seeing at the beginning of the movie, though, where he was like shaking and like saw lights flashing over his face and stuff, and that's what we were viewing. We didn't know it yet. Mm-hmm. I dug that.
Yeah, no. Also, like, it was weird, like how they had the ranks and stuff set up. I feel like I felt like Brad Pitt's character always like he was like super afraid of like doing things, and like at first I didn't even think he could fly the spacecrafts. I was like,
oh, because he was like, are you gonna do something?
Yeah, right. I was just like, does he know how to fly? Like, why is he here? Like, what is his job?
Well, he was on a secret mission, and he had to board with those people, and he couldn't tell them what he was doing. But if he took control of the aircraft, then he would have had to tell them.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So when he did take it, he was like, I trust you know why I did that. Yeah. Because you bitched the fuck out.
I trust you know. Yeah. Also, it was. I
mean, it would be horrifying, don't get me wrong.
Oh,
but you're an astronaut.
Yeah, right.
Come on, man.
I want to know, like, is he like a engineer? Is he a scientist? I couldn't really figure that out. I couldn't figure out, like, why he knew how to do
Why he's the one
everything.
Going to space?
Yeah, but, like, how this person just knows how to travel the universe alone. Like, I don't think anyone can do that.
Yeah, it was interesting. It was certainly interesting, and that is part of why the science is.
And also, he wasn't even that good of a like fighter or anything. Like, he was, I guess, a little like he was savvy or whatever with but like he won a lot of fights.
Man,
he won a lot of fights.
He did for sure.
He did not get fucked up at all.
Defeated a wild space monkey.
Yeah. Like, it was nothing. I was like, ooh, this is...
everyone else got absolutely torn apart by
absolutely just demolished. I was like, the Space Monkeys thing was weird, though. I was like, is this, like, is this what's causing the...
Is this what's causing the fucking electrical explosion?
Yeah, I was like, Space Monkeys. Like...
Yo, did you see my text that I sent you in the middle of watching? I was like... So, a fucking monkey?
A fucking monkey? Like, yeah, I don't know. That was weird. And then I was like, wait, is that them being like, oh, there is intelligent life out there? And I'm like, no.
No, they just... And then he was like, they all got attacked by a test monkey that we sent to space.
Oh, my fucking God. Yeah, that was I did not expect that at all.
I certainly didn't. And that was how the captain died. He answered a distress call,
literally,
and then got bodied by a monkey.
Just comes in there, monkeys just.
Shit, my bad.
It's about that time to go to work.
It is. I'd be getting ready for work at this time if I had work. But yeah, it was a solid movie.
Yeah, no, it was. I definitely enjoyed it.
Want to get to the rating scale?
Yeah. Go ahead.
All right. So, reminder: the way we do our rating scale, we have a comedy section, an action section, a plot section, a visuals section, an emotion section, and a cast and crew section. We give them a rating out of 10 in each of those categories. We combine them, we divide them by 6, and that's our total. So, not much comedy in this movie.
No, not funny at all. Don't go to it if you want to laugh.
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't even. I don't even think there was an attempt at a joke.
I don't think so either.
I think the funniest part of the movie was Natasha Lyonne randomly showing up on Mars. That's just because Natasha Lyonne's a fucking legend.
Mm-hmm.
I love that woman. So, on a scale of Cats to 10, we got comedy, Cats, Jack and Jill, Not Another Teen Movie, School of Rock, Anchorman, Scary Movie, Guardians of the Galaxy Ant-Man, Sorry to Bother You, Elf, and Friday. On a scale of Cats to Friday, where does Ad Astra fall in comedy?
Yeah, just gonna have 1.5. Like
just above Cats.
Just above Cats. It's funnier than Cats.
Not even an attempt at a joke, and it's funnier than Cats.
Not quite as funny as what's our two? Jack and Jill.
Jack and Jill.
Yeah.
With Adam Sandler. As both Jack and Jill.
As both Jack and Jill. Not quite that funny.
And compared to last week's Jojo Rabbit, quite worse.
Oh,
6 points down in comedy.
Oh, yeah, but yeah, that makes sense though.
I mean, it's not a comedy movie.
Yeah,
that makes sense. The action in this movie, when it came up, it was intense.
It was just mediocre as a result because it was when it came up. It was other than that, it was just kind of this dude brooding,
and it was kind of portrayed as an action movie. Like that's what I was expecting from it. And then there was like 2 or 3 action scenes, maybe 3.
Yeah, that's what a lot of critics critique the trailer for, because the trailer is like, oh, fucking Ad Astra, fucking explosions, fucking fights, like it's getting crazy up in here. And then they get to the movie and they're like, Brad Pitt's just been crying for the past hour.
Brad Pitt sat in space.
Alternate title.
But still, when the action scenes came up, they were good. Like we talked about the pirate scene, and we talked about Space Monkey.
Yeah.
But that still, it puts it somewhere in the middle for me.
Yeah.
On a scale of Cats to 10, we got Cats, Transformers Age of Extinction, Chappie, Tokyo Drift, Suicide Squad, Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, John Wick, The Matrix, Bourne Identity, and The Dark Knight. And obviously, 7 through 10 is a pretty tough card to beat.
Gonna be hard to crack that, yeah.
Yeah, so we throw this at about 5.5?
5.5, yeah. Just right
somewhere between Suicide Squad and Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol.
Yeah.
Is where Ad Astra falls for action. Moving on to emotion. This one hit when it hit.
Oh, yeah. No, they had a message and they were going to get it through.
It was, the part where his dad let go.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, fuck.
I didn't think he was going to do that, but...
and also the part where he learns his dad's kind of lost it.
Yeah.
That tore me up a little bit.
Yeah.
On a scale of Cats to 10, Cats, Life Itself, The Spectacular Now, High School Musical 3, American Honey, The Fault in Our Stores. The Fault in Our Stores, A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, Bridge to Terabithia, Boys in the Hood, Fruitvale Station. On a scale of Cats to Fruitvale Station, where does Ad Astra fall in emotion?
We got a solid 8 on this one.
That's a high one.
Up there. It's
That's
up
high.
there.
That ranks higher than Jojo Rabbit.
Oh yeah, no, it hit harder than Jojo Rabbit.
Jojo Rabbit had that one.
It just
really
had that one.
scene.
It was all built around that one scene. But this one, it had at least a couple where you were like, "This man's really going through it."
Oh, dude, and the entire time that man was just fucking depressing.
Depressed.
So we put it on the same level as Bridge to Terabithia. At an 8.
At an 8.
Visual aesthetic. I really enjoyed the visuals in this movie.
Yeah, they were cool. They were definitely cool.
And the thing that holds it back a little bit is that it's not Interstellar.
Mm-mm.
And if you're going to space, shit's got to be as pretty as Interstellar.
It's got to. I'm sorry, they set the bar. I don't make the rules.
So, on a scale of Cats to 10, we got Cats, Fantastic Four, the one from the 90s, X-Men, Inglourious Bastards, Thor Ragnarok, mid-90s, Guava Island, La La Land, Interstellar, and Parasite. Where, from Cats to Parasite, does Ad Astra fall for visual aesthetic?
Not quite as good as La La Land, but definitely better than
I mean, the shit was just so much
Guava
bigger than
Island.
Guava Island.
Yeah, it was bigger than Guava Island. That's ultimately how that cracked down. But La La Land was that one. I feel like the visuals
are the reason I watched that movie.
Yeah, right. They made a more memorable use of it. But it's like with this one, it was still like you remember that it was cool or whatever, but it wasn't integral to you're enjoying the movie.
For show. So, for visual aesthetic, it falls at a 7.5, somewhere between Guava Island and La La Land. I love the way we rank these movies. That's such a fucking random thing to say. Ad Astra, I don't know, in terms of visual aesthetic, it's somewhere between La La Land and Guava Island. How do you even come to that? I love this.
I don't know.
In terms of plot, I liked the plot. It was concise, straight to the point. He was going to look for his dad. There was a few twists in there about his dad being a psychopath. His dad then committing suicide and drifting off into space.
Yeah.
That was intense.
That's so just like, can you imagine?
Oh, like my dad cutting himself loose?
Well, no, just drifting off into space. Like, is there a more depressing way to die?
Especially, like, it's almost better to not be wearing a spacesuit. Because now you're just going to starve. Drifting off into space.
Yeah.
I'd almost rather freeze right then and there.
God, space is scary.
Space is horrifying.
Yeah.
I was looking up at the moon last night, and I was like, and obviously this is after watching Ad Astra, so I'm thinking about space and shit, and I'm like, people have been on that.
People have been there.
It's so weird.
It is
like,
weird.
just like, look at it. It's this tiny little circle in the fucking sky.
Yeah.
There are people who have been on that thing.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's fucking wild.
That's absurd. Space is fucking wild.
It's fucking wild.
I liked the way that the storylines of his father and Roy paralleled each other.
Oh, yeah.
The way Roy's focus and his drive and his mission was to find his father and to get his father to come home.
Mm-hmm.
He eventually had to let that go because his dad was too far gone. Yeah. There was no hope.
Yeah.
Which is depressing. And his dad went out to look for intelligent life in the universe. That was his drive. That was his focus. He didn't care about anything else. He says that to Roy.
Yeah.
He's like, I never gave a shit about you or your mom. I cared about finding aliens.
Yeah.
Which, unless he has any other job, he's a fucking psychopath.
Oh, yeah. But it shows what it's like for someone to be, it's that blind fanaticism again. It's like,
it is.
It's literally like, Roy is this person who's all about the rules, who's all about doing it right, who's all about the objective, and that's how his father was too. And I think he appreciated that he got that from his father, but then he realized the extremes to which that could bring him, which was giving absolutely zero fucks about people.
Absolutely. So eventually his father also was forced to give up on finding aliens when he just drifted off into space. Even though there was no hope in him finding aliens. They'd already done everything, said there's no intelligent life out there, man.
Yeah.
And he's like, fuck it, man, I'm going to go to a different universe. Like, what?
Okay.
Okay, bro. Good luck. So, in terms of plot, on a scale of Cats to 10, Cats, Behaving Badly, Paranormal Activity, The Rise of Skywalker, I, Tonya, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, The Breakfast Club, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, Moonlight, and Blind Spotting. Where does it fall? Cats to Blind Spotting in terms of plot.
We put it right on par with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
We did. I wanted to go higher than Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. You wanted to go lower, so we just met right there in the middle.
Yep.
We were like, you know what? That's probably fair.
Solid 6.
Yeah, and I mean, it's hard to get, like we've said, it's hard to get higher on our lists. Because the way I look at it is like, almost on all of these, 10, 9, 8 could all be 10s.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just how it works in like almost all the categories.
Yeah.
So, I mean, so when we do get those movies, it's going to be fucking exciting.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be exciting to talk about them. But yeah, we put it right on par with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, giving it a 6 out of 10 in terms of plot. Last but not least, cast and crew. Not much to be said here.
No.
I mean, you got Brad Pitt and Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah.
That's kick-ass. Great combo right there.
Mm-hmm.
The director, James Gray, he's done some other stuff, but not enough to go, oh shit, this needs to be above Pulp Fiction with Quentin Tarantino, John Travolta, and Samuel L. Jackson, which we have at our 7.
Yeah.
So that's going to be tough to beat.
Yeah.
And, I mean, you also had a Natasha Lyonne appearance, which for me is basically a 10. But, you know, to be fair, on a scale of Cats to 10, we've got Cats, Incredible Hulk, Straight Outta Compton, Rush Hour, The Amazing Spider-Man 2, Pulp Fiction, Iron Man 2, American Hustle, Ocean's 11, and Wolf of Wall Street. On a scale of Cats to Wolf of Wall Street, how does the cast and crew fare?
Solid 5.5.
Solid 5.5, falling right between The Amazing Spider-Man 2 and Pulp Fiction, also where Jojo Rabbit fell, and I have a feeling a lot more movies will fall in that gap because it's quite wide.
Yeah. Wait, where's that gap? Where the movies?
The Amazing Spider-Man 2 to Pulp Fiction. It's going to be like, well, it's better than Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone. But it's not quite as good as Samuel L. Jackson and John Travolta.
And Quentin Tarantino.
And Uma Thurman. That's our 7.
We might have to revise that.
We will. I mean, but I don't know. I kind of like it. I kind of like it this way. But, you know, now we gave The Amazing Spider-Man 2 because it also had Jamie Foxx.
Oh.
That's right.
Jamie.
So, fell out of 5.5 right there on par with Jojo Rabbit, just like last week. So, we add it all up. We divide it by 6. It comes to 5 2/3, which we round up here on the Penny Bloom podcast. It becomes a 6 out of 10. Exactly what Jojo Rabbit was.
Exactly what Jojo Rabbit was.
I mean, Jojo Rabbit was like 0.2% higher.
Yeah.
But
I would say Jojo Rabbit on like, you know, on whole was probably a slightly more entertaining movie.
I have more fun watching Jojo Rabbit than I do Ad Astra.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's a comedy movie.
Yeah, right.
You know, you're going to have more fun watching a comedy than you are any other movie.
Exactly.
It's just, I mean, depending. Some good-ass movies out there, though. They're fun and aren't comedy.
Yeah, definitely.
But, yeah, we strongly recommend Ad Astra. As we've said before, we're grading on a curve here, you know. You get a 6 out of 10, you got an A here.
Yeah.
You know. We like movies. We like them all, pretty much. Or I do, anyway. So, yeah. Move on to pick 4.
Sounds good.
Next segment. We're going to try a new segment, calling it Pick 4, in which we picked 4 albums. We are going to match them to movies of our choice, be it in terms of vibes, be it in terms of themes. If you felt like this movie and this album go together, we put it. All right,
we put it.
That's it. We do things the way we want.
Yeah.
It's kind of our thing.
Kind of the essence of this whole thing.
I mean, it's kind of the essence of anybody's podcast. They're doing what they want to do. Hopefully. If you're not, then like, why are you doing the podcast?
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, that's too bad.
Yeah.
Just like, at that point, why are you even talking about it? if you don't want to be there,
just like
turn off the microphone.
You know, like you're just not even. Are you even a person anymore? Like,
all right. So our 4 albums, we got Flower Boy by Tyler the Creator. You know me and Tav, we love us some Tyler. We got Circles by Mac Miller. You know me and Tav, we love us some Mac Miller. We got Graduation. You know me and Tavares. There's a Kanye West out there somewhere. We got we got I by Bon Iver, which Bon Iver's undefeated. Fucking incredible.
Yeah.
So, Flower Boy by Tyler the Creator. What movie do you feel fits best with this album?
It took me a minute, but I ended up deciding that it has to be Dope.
Dope.
I
haven't watched that movie in a minute.
Me either. It's not on anything, but like, God, that's a good
I mean, that's set in L.A., right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's just what Flower Boy evokes.
And it's just
West
like this,
Coast,
this
just like vibrancy.
This idea of just kind of like the teenagers who just kind of are out there, you know, like you're just out there in the world, just feeling it. Just
Just
doing
living.
what you want, just living.
And that's the feeling Flower Boy gives you.
That's definitely the feeling Flower Boy gives you. And Dope is even more so because it's like they get themselves in a pretty sticky situation they have to
involving dope,
and then they have to get themselves out of it, and they're all the while just three high school students
vibing.
Just vibing.
That's a good
They
choice.
meet A$AP Rocky.
They do meet A$AP Rocky. I haven't seen that movie in a minute. I forgot about
Yeah.
that. That's a good one. And that has Shameik Moore in it, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I think that was his first big movie that I remember him.
Yeah, and then he was Miles Morales in Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy.
And he was in Wu-Tang.
Yes, he was. Dude's had a solid career. He was also in a show called The Get Down on Netflix, which got canceled way too prematurely.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Fucking phenomenal.
I'm not going to lie.
Also has Jaden Smith in it.
I tried to watch part 1, and it just was too slow.
Too slow?
I didn't know what I was watching. Like, I was just like, I expected to be watching like,
and my review of it
different than what I was getting in the first part.
I watched it in like 2016 when I was fresh off surgery on painkillers, and I really liked the show. So take my take my review with a grain of salt, people. I was enjoying everything at that point.
Yeah.
My pick for Flower Boy was Ingrid Goes West, starring Aubrey Plaza and O'Shea Jackson Jr. and Elizabeth Olsen, I want to say is her name. She plays Scarlet Witch. I can't remember at the moment, but I feel like that's right, and I don't know why.
Yeah,
it sounds weirdly off though. But yeah, in a similar vein as yours, it's West Coast, Los Angeles. It's just vibes out the ass.
Yeah, it's just freewheeling, free feeling.
It really is. And one of the themes of Flower Boy, obviously, is that he's Elizabeth Olsen. I was right. He is a pretty lonely guy. Tyler. I mean, 911, Mr. Lonely. Boredom's got a new best friend. And I mean, one of the themes of Ingrid Goes West, it seems, is that she's incredibly lonely as well.
Yeah.
She's a little obsessive. That's a little bit more.
Probably because she's lonely.
Yeah, exactly why. And so, and combined with the fact that Ingrid's going west and stuff, I was like, west, that Los Angeles just reminds me of Flower Boy, Tyler, the creator, the visuals. I said this earlier, the vibrancy of it, everything's so beautiful and bright in the movie. And on the surface, Flower Boy, none of the songs sound sad. Yeah. But then you listen to what he's saying. And
right.
And it's like, that's what one of the Elizabeth Olsen's character in this movie specifically, she's like a social media influencer. Her life seems fantastic. She seems like she has it all together. And then like you get into it and she's just not doing well. Yeah. You know, and that's.
And I think that's kind of the ethic of a lot of Flower Boy-esque stuff that we see. And
there's
like,
a lot of stuff that can relate to Flower Boy.
Because it's like I listened to the album, and although it's on face a happy sounding album, like you're like, it's also very emotionally layered. Like it's like not at all a simple sort of let's just be happy, ride with the windows down. Like it's
not
like,
at all.
It's like we're gonna vibe out, but no, like this vibe out is to stop that depression.
Y'all gonna cry this one out, all right? So yeah, Flower Boy for me, Ingrid Goes West. Flower Boy for Tav, Dope. It's a couple of good movies. All those go together really well.
They do.
Feel right to me.
Yeah.
Now on to Circles by Mac Miller. What was your pick?
I don't know why, and it's going to be difficult to explain, but Baby Driver was the way that I went for
I was intrigued by this.
Circles. Something about the way that they introduced music in that movie is it just reminded me sort of the vibes that Circles gives me, which is like kind of this like, I don't know, like I feel like the music that he listens to is always like very specifically placed. Like he's always listening to it. Like he knows what song he wants to play, right? Mm-hmm. But it's like with Circles, like it brings me like a lot of like happiness and sadness. Yeah. And so it's like I always want to listen to those songs.
That's why I chose Before We Go too. Yeah. Because it's bittersweet as hell.
Yeah, bittersweet. Yeah.
The thing I was trying to tell. My movie was Before We Go, starring Chris Evans. Because that movie has
was Was that like the indie film that he did?
Yes, and
the one where he's
like, in the train station. He plays the I can't remember.
Oh, I've seen that. Yeah,
I really fuck with that.
Really good movie.
I really enjoy that movie, and it reminds me of this a lot because the highs in that movie, the happy moments are really fucking happy, and you really love it, and you feel like this is it, you know.
Yeah.
And then the ending comes around, and it's sad, but it was the ending. You know?
Yeah.
And like that's how I feel about Circles. You know, it was I
It
didn't
was
want
the ending,
this to be the end.
Right.
You know, obviously.
Yeah.
For different reasons than before we go. But it was just devastating. Like, Circles is the most bittersweet album that exists for me.
Yeah.
And Before We Go just has that feel all over it. They feel like they've come to a point of peace by the end of the movie, which I like to think Mac Miller has found peace. But they go their separate ways.
Right.
And that it's just like, damn, I didn't want that.
What a shame.
So that's why Circles reminds me of Before We Go.
That's fair. So we both were just kind of like Circles equals slightly depressing.
Bittersweet.
Bittersweet. Slightly depressing.
Yeah. Slightly depressing, bittersweet. Same thing. Next up, Graduation by Kanye West.
This is probably the easiest one.
Oh, 100%. We both just picked high school movies.
Yeah. We're just like, what's a movie where you're
in which people
graduating?
Are going to graduate. Okay. Go with yours.
Without further ado, Mac and Devin go to high school.
Amen.
Had to. You just could not.
I thought about it, but I was like, you know what? If we do this again and we go with like a Wiz Khalifa album, I have no doubt I'm going to want to cite this one.
That's true. Maybe I'll just... Oh, yeah.
But it's a good choice.
It's a good choice.
It's a good choice because, I mean, high school... The graduation, like, that's what that album takes you to. It's high school.
Definitely. Yeah, it's high school.
I went with Booksmart. And another thing that our movies have in common is a couple of people in high school do drugs and party, and then they're in high school.
And they're
that's what Booksmart. I mean, Booksmart. I mean, they're not weed dealers at the beginning or anything. They're just really really good kids, and then they party. They do one night party. They get arrested. Shit happens.
Damn, I need to watch that movie.
Oh, dude, it's fucking phenomenal. One of my favorite comedies in a while.
Yeah.
But it just every time I watch it, it reminds me of this album. Specifically, I don't know why, Champion.
Champion?
Do you realize that you are a champion?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I did. So I packed it up and brought it back to the crib. I don't know why. It really does, and I have no clue why.
It makes me think of Good Morning.
Good morning. Ooh. It's just beautiful.
Good morning.
I love that album, though.
Yeah, no, Graduation, it was for a lot. I think it probably still has to be my favorite Kanye album.
Oh, it's my favorite Kanye album. I know that for a fact.
It's just, I don't know, that one just stuck with me.
It hits in a nostalgia that few things do.
And Mac and Devin is honestly a pretty nostalgic movie for me at this point too. Like it's like
I listened
Snoop
to Young
Dogg
Wild
and
and
Wiz
Free.
Khalifa.
I listened to Young Wild and Free the other night.
Bro, like think about that. Like that movie is like honestly like stoners forever gonna be like, yo, you seen Mac
You remember
and Devin
that?
go to high school? Like I know you've seen the Snoop Dogg and Wiz Khalifa movie.
Especially stoners our age. We watched that when we were like 12 or 13.
Oh yeah, definitely. I was far too young to watch it.
100%.
The first time I watched it. I did.
There's a scene with like an orgy, briefly.
Is there?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I feel like there's a sex scene in which there's a lot of people
definitely
having
is a sex scene.
Maybe it's just.
Are you thinking about Sorry to Bother You?
Yeah, I am.
There was the scene where they were in the like that, like I don't know what to call it.
The lighting
brothel.
Was all colorful and shit. I can see it in my mind.
Yeah, they're in like the brothel or whatever.
Yeah.
And then they get like the cops come. But yeah,
I watched that movie in years.
There was a massive orgy sex scene in Sorry to Bother You.
That's right. Of course.
Actually, I won't tell that story, but it was pretty ironic.
For Graduation, I went Booksmart. For Graduation, Tav goes Mac and Devin go to high school. Next up, I by Bon Iver. I'm intrigued by your pick here. I want to hear your explanation for this.
It's the Polar Express. What do you mean? What more explaining I got to do? I mean, just think about it. So
No, I
you
get
know
the
when
vibes.
they get
I get the vibes.
Yeah,
I certainly do.
But just think, like standing on top of the Polar Express, you're probably freezing your ass off, but the cartoon characters don't care. So you're standing on top of the Polar Express, looking at the Northern Lights, and I is playing in the background, and you're just chugging towards Santa.
That's pretty kick-ass.
Chugga, 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 chugga.
Then you hear the synths. Fucking Naeem comes on. It's funny. We were watching Ad Astra, and the entire time all I could think of was like I could just set a montage of this movie to I, and I would really enjoy it.
You should do that.
For all the reasons I enjoyed Ad Astra, that's why I picked I. Mostly the visuals in it too. Everything just felt right.
Yeah, no, it did. Like, just it would have perfectly fit with I is just a real spacey album.
It really is.
It's spacey and
sky,
nature.
Anything natural, it just feels I.
Yeah, no, definitely.
So that was our pick 4. We'll be back with this segment too. I enjoyed this.
I did too.
I enjoyed doing it.
It was
figuring it out.
I think it all makes sense.
I think it all makes sense as well. That's what we do here.
That's what we do here.
We make it all make sense.
We make it all make sense. Only us.
Only us. We're the only ones alive who make it make sense. You ever seen those tweets? Make it make sense? Guess what? If you listen to this podcast, you will know what sense has been made. Oh my fucking God.
Okay. We should probably hop off our own dick.
Yeah, pretty much. So that was our pick 4. Next up, we're going to talk about Umbrella Academy.
Ooh.
We got to go watch it real quick. We'll be right back. So, we have now watched the season 2 premiere of The Umbrella Academy. Overall, how'd you feel about the episode?
I mean, pretty good. Like, reintroduction to Umbrella Academy.
It was a much needed reintroduction as well. I hadn't watched the first season in a while, and I really felt like I immediately remembered the characters upon watching this episode.
Yeah. Like, they give you a good feel for like how their lives have changed too, and like, sort of how they're. It was a weird change that they went through, so they had a lot of explaining to do.
They really did. So how this is going to work is we're going to do an episode breakdown. I'm going to read my notes that I took as we watched the episode and talk about it as we go. Sound good?
Sounds good.
All right. First, we watch as each member of the family gets displaced at a different point in time, between 1960 and 1963, in the same alley in Dallas, Texas. The last to show up is 5, and when he arrives, we see the Umbrella Academy doing absolute work on Soviet soldiers who have invaded the U.S. When Hazel shows up to take 5 back to the past, the rest of the family is nuked. Hazel explains to 5 that this event was the end of the world, and now he's taken him 10 days earlier to correct it. As Hazel explains how his wife has died, and he's left the agency, he gets ran up on and dies. That's the first part of the show.
Gets popped. Hazel gets popped.
Hazel gets popped. So that scene where we watch them go to work on some Soviet soldiers, pretty fucking badass.
Yeah, no,
definitely my favorite scene of the episode.
Yeah.
We saw Diego with his long ass hair do that twirl spin where he dodged all the bullets and threw knives on all of them at the same time. Super badass. Anya being the most powerful badass bitch alive.
I was kind of hoping that it was like they had already been together, like in a group sort of thing, but I don't think that's how it went.
Turns out it was not the case at all. They just, it looked like they were firing on all cylinders. It
looked
like they were working really well together. So I was like, oh, they all came together immediately. They found each other, and then they were like, let's be a superhero team, guys.
Yeah.
And then that's not at all what happens, judging by the rest of the episode.
Right.
Apparently they linked up sometime in these 10 days. And we're like, shit, we got to fight for the USA, man. I suppose. Next, 5 escapes from this getting ran up on. And he then arrives at a shop, a TV and radio shop, and he enters, where he finds a man who is a conspiracy nut who thinks that he is an alien, and so is the rest of the Umbrella Academy. Because of the arrivals of these dudes, this dude is gone full conspiracy nut. The big flashing light that comes up, they all just happen to plop into the alley.
Yeah.
Can't really blame them. I'd be a little suspicious of what's going on.
I would too.
I mean, I'd certainly go full conspiracy nut. The man gives him a lead on Diego, and then we get to cut to Diego, who is currently in a mental facility. He is in a group therapy session where him and his shitty therapist, like, that man seemed like a dick for a therapist.
Yeah, he was. I mean,
how
are you supposed to react, though? You know?
Yeah, I mean, Diego was kind of being an ass to him, too. I mean, realistic, though. He was telling the truth.
But, yeah.
They were discussing Diego's origins and how he got here and stuff, and Diego bullshits him and asks his partner in crime, Lila, he's like, you think he bought it? He's like, yeah, you're making some serious progress now. I was like, that's about right for Diego.
Yeah.
We then see that Diego is dead set on saving JFK from imminent assassination, and that is likely why he is in the facility. And then next, Five shows up to talk to him and is like, I see that you got arrested at this address. That's Lee Harvey Oswald's house. Got arrested with knives outside of Lee Harvey Oswald's house. Because in 10 days, the world ends. Maybe some asshole tried to save the president.
Maybe some asshole.
He's like, Diego, I need your help.
Yeah.
The world ends in 10 days. It's probably because some asshole saved the president. He's like, oh.
But it might not be. Honestly, that probably might be the red herring.
It probably is. And I imagine it is. I imagine something that happens after this is what causes everything.
Yeah.
That's my prediction as well. And Diego responds, I knew I could do it. Okay, I'll help you. He just wanted to know if he could save the president.
Yeah.
He didn't even really care about doing the actual thing, which I appreciate about him. Five decides to keep him locked up in the mental facility to prevent him from saving JFK. We next see Vanya living with a family who she has told that she can't remember anything, which I thought was probably a wise move. Don't want to tell them,
Yeah.
I'm from the future. The dad's a total douchebag. He's like, sales is an art, Which, I mean, sales does take some skill, but the way you don't have to be a dick about it, all right? You don't have to be an asshole. Fucking idiot.
Salesmen are always annoying.
Yeah, a little bit. They're always a little bit annoying. And he comments about how nobody's called and how someone should be looking for Vanya. I was like, well, her entire family's been displaced throughout time.
Yeah. That'll do
I wouldn't
something.
expect anyone
That'll
to be
definitely
looking
do
around
something.
for her. We then finally cut to Klaus and Ben. Klaus is my favorite character in this show. And their car is broken down on the side of the road. Ben wants to return to San Francisco, but Klaus gets what he wants because, quote, Ben is his ghost bitch. He also runs at him and tackles him to the ground after Ben says that nobody cares about him. So there was also that part about how he was like, Klaus says, they were so clingy back there. Have you watched the preview for this season?
Maybe. I don't remember it.
I'm pretty sure Klaus was the leader of a cult in San Francisco.
Oh, wow.
And that's why he's the way he is.
Oh, okay.
He's dressed the way he is.
Yeah.
Everything. They were all so clingy back in San Francisco.
They're also, that sounds like Klaus, yeah.
Yeah, it seems like something he'd definitely say. They then hit a bar while they wait for the next bus to Dallas, which doesn't come until 3 p.m. the next day. And these people don't take kind to Klaus's appearance because they are homophobic rednecks. Klaus hits a game of poker with them where he bets for a man's truck. He loses and steals the keys anyway. Makes it out with the truck, despite Ben's self-actualization and being like, you know what? You can do it all on your own, man. You don't need my help. Fucking A.
Fucking A.
You don't think you could have picked a better time for self-actualization? We then cut to Allison living with her new husband, who is a civil rights activist, it seems. And he has a lot of hope riding on JFK, which
she
Allison's
doesn't
like,
want
hey,
to. I don't want to be the one to break it to you. He
don't
dies.
put all your eggs in that basket, honey. You gonna die.
You gonna die.
But
I definitely would have tried to kill Lee Harvey Oswald.
Oh, no doubt. And then later in the episode earlier in the episode when Diego's like, you think you can take me back a few years earlier so I can slit baby Hitler's throat with a knife? I was like, Jesus.
God damn.
I mean, when you figure out you can save the president, it gives you ideas to, do all these other sorts of things. But yeah, Allison and her new husband seem very happy together. I didn't think she'd ever fall in love with anyone besides her adopted brother.
Yeah, that was a weird relationship.
I never really liked it.
That. I didn't like it either.
And I hope this is their way to just be like, forget about it.
Yeah.
They're just like, I mean, they'll have to bring it up eventually. Luther and her will meet, and he'll be like, oh, you're married. And she'll be like, yeah.
Yeah.
You know. So how have you been? you know, the usual shit.
Yeah.
Because their storyline has always been kind of like, probably the most basic in the entire show in terms of a romance. But, you know, it works. I'm with it. I mean, not with them. I'm glad she has a new husband, to be honest. We then see Luther partaking in a vicious cockfight where he absolutely obliterates a dude who then gets upset and tries to stab him. Very bad move. Have you seen Luther?
Yeah, I don't know why.
Why would you try to stab this man? Why on earth? So, he shatters his arm, as one does. Can't blame him in the slightest.
No, not at all.
It appears that he's working for some sort of mob boss. Was that your feel of that?
I'm not sure yet. I'm not exactly sure, but
because it seemed like he was working as like a security, as a driver. He was kind of just this dude's, I don't know, assistant.
Yeah.
In all things, he's like, you protect me when I need protecting.
I don't know what he's got over him though. That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah, it seemed like there's something there.
Yeah,
I'm intrigued by it a lot. I look forward to that storyline. I was never a huge fan of Luther
Me
in the
either.
first season. I was always more of a Klaus, Diego, Vanya guy. Those are my three.
Yeah.
I like them. And 5, you know. He's an old dude trapped in like a 12-year-old's body.
I keep forgetting that, yeah.
Or, I mean, 16? I don't know. Fuck. What age are kids, you know?
Yeah, you know.
He looks young. Allison's husband and their civil rights group are planning out a strategy for their sit-in when a nosy white man comes a knocking on their door. And when he's acting a fool, tries to accuse her husband of assault and tries to punch him, Allison beats that ass. And he's like, oh, I don't remember what he said, but he's like, she basically was like, that felt real good. She's like, I'm glad I beat that. I beat that racist white man's ass. And I can't believe
he said so much for honor and dignity, and she said him first.
Yeah, I was like, fuck yeah. That man's a douchebag. Vanya and Sissy then meet in the kitchen where Sissy's smoking a little bit. Talk a little bit. And she's like, I didn't know you had a wild side like that, Sissy. I didn't know you was wild like that. And then they get into a pretty serious talk about Sissy's marriage and how she thinks that one day Carl's going to leave her. I was like, if anything, honey, you should leave him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Take the kid. Get out of there. Just get out of there.
Just get out of there.
That's what I'm saying. But I like their friendship.
Yeah.
They seem to have grown pretty close pretty quick.
Yeah.
And I dig that. And plus, she was willing to take Vanya in when she didn't have any memories. She's obviously a pretty good person.
Yeah.
What would you do if you just found someone who didn't have any memories and they were like, I can't remember anything. Will you help me?
I mean, I would help them, yeah.
As best as I could.
I don't
know, like, what do I do?
At that point, I really do feel like eventually, like, my first thought would be like, so, like, what you thinking, you know, like, how you want to get started up again in life?
Should I play you a few songs?
Yeah.
What year were you born? I don't know. Like,
well, no, I'd just be like, well, like,
I don't remember.
How long? Like, I don't know if this is an appropriate question to ask. How long is it going to take you to get over the absence of memories of a past life?
That's probably it. I mean, they don't know.
Yeah. No, I'm like, so, like, you want to, like, where are you going to work?
Trying to get a job? Trying to pay rent around
like,
here?
what do you want to do in life?
I don't remember. I don't remember what I liked. All right. Next, we see Diego walking down the hall. Oh, wait. I skipped a paragraph. We next cut to Diego locked up in a straitjacket in a room he cannot escape. Or so we think. He separates his shoulder out of socket and gets out of the straitjacket, then picks the lock with one hand. Not so inescapable. He walks down the hall with his shoulder hanging on by a thread, and it was absolutely fucking disgusting to look at. And then we cut to the milkman. Milkman delivers this guy's milk. He's like, it's a little bit late for milk, right? And he's like, yeah, but special delivery, bullets in your chest.
It's about time for your death, though.
Yep, and they pump this dude full of lead, and then they get moving. They're moving around the
bada bing, bada boom.
Around the mental hospital. These are the guys who shot Hazel earlier, too. I liked Hazel. He's a good dude. We then see Diego walking down the hall when he gets caught by one of the nurses there, and he acts like he's sleepwalking. And when this dude's not falling for it, he is saved by Lila, who knocks this dude the fuck out. They proceed to make out. Psych. Not actually going to kiss. She's just putting his shoulder back in the socket. It was a dirty move. he was like, oh fuck yeah, this is going to be awesome. And then she was like, that's horrifying.
And then she howled.
That sucked. Yeah, and then she howled very loud, letting the gunman know that we're here.
Hey,
we're queer.
Right here, guys.
The dudes find Diego and Lila and start shooting. They have no idea who they are. Diego lets out all of the mental facility's patients for a distraction. All the patients, oh wait, no. I skipped another paragraph. My bad. They run into a couple of cops who act like cops.
Yep.
And Lila beats that ass.
Yep.
Which I appreciated. Because the cop was like, you're a mental patient. Obviously, you're the problem. So
that's how they did it back then.
Back then. And now. And next we cut to a club where Luther is hanging around doing his job and shit. Five pays him a visit, tells him he needs his help to stop the world from ending. To which he responds, I don't give a shit. Cut to black. It was a good one. It was a solid episode of television.
It was, yeah. No, I think they just had a lot of backstory work to do, and from here,
oh, absolutely, it was a major setup.
Sway of the arc.
Major setup episode.
Yeah.
They have 10 days.
10 days.
Seems like this show's going to have to be all gas.
Oh yeah, it will.
And just like last
that
season.
Seems to be a trend though among like most shows that I watch now. I feel like is they're really like they
especially
understand.
The superhero actiony shows.
People want to binge and like they're like we're just gonna do this as quickly and as efficiently as possible.
Especially a Netflix series.
Especially Netflix, yeah.
But we're gonna take our time with it, week by week.
Week by week, day by day.
Week by week, you will listen to us talk about Umbrella Academy. Next week, we will be doing Season 2, Episode 2. But right now, we're going to do a different segment called Under the Umbrella. I'm going to ask you, what part of this episode reminded you of you? Did you relate to anything here?
Luke Skywalker line.
Dude, the Luke Skywalker line was strong.
It just had to, because like I'm constantly saying things. And I'm like, you wouldn't get it anyway.
Yeah, he's in 1963. He makes a Star Wars reference, and everyone's like, "What the fuck?" And he's like, "That was a kick-ass reference, but he wouldn't get it yet." He's from the future.
Yeah, he's from the future.
Duh. So when he says things like that, they're like, "This is why you're in a mental facility."
Yeah, right.
Who the fuck is Luke Skywalker? The part that I relate to is when he is walking down the hall. Diego is walking down the hall in the mental facility. The guy catches him and he goes, "What are you doing?" He goes, sleepwalking." And then he acts like he's sleepwalking.
Yeah,
and, like stumbles. Yeah, I felt like I related to Diego there.
Yeah, he switched up real quick there. That was funny.
Yeah. So both of us Diego this week. Both of us Diego. We'll see next episode.
Diego is a vibe.
Diego is a vibe. I fuck with Diego. Who are your favorite characters in the show, you think?
Honestly, like I really fuck with Five.
Five's dope. He's straight to the point. He's like obviously a 60-something-year-old man in the body of a 15-year-old.
Right.
But like one that's got his shit together.
Yeah. Five, and then
my bad.
Anya probably.
And what?
Anya.
Vanya. Vanya's fucking dope.
Vanya.
I like Klaus a lot.
Yeah.
Vanya, Klaus, and Diego. Those are my dudes. And Dudette. But Allison and Luther, I haven't hopped on the train yet.
No, I don't know if I will. I just feel like, too, like their powers are at least interesting.
Well, Allison's got some crazy shit on her.
Yeah, but
she's like, rumor has it.
Oh, yeah.
I heard a rumor.
It seems like she develops it, but like to this point,
she's like, I heard a rumor. I blew your mind, and then these dudes' brains exploded.
To this point, all I've really seen her use her powers for is just some bullshit.
Yeah, and Luther's just a really big dude.
Yeah,
who's
he's
strong.
Kind of big. It's just straightforward. Like,
but the overall least compelling character, just because he's appeared the least, is Ben. I forgot. Like he popped up, and I was like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah,
I forgot that dude existed.
Me too.
Like, he's the only one I didn't remember.
Yeah.
But then as the story progressed, I remember Klaus brought him back, and he has to stay close to Klaus and stuff like that because he's the only reason he has a body. And Klaus is also the only one who can see him, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Unless he
can materialize.
He can materialize as a spirit and stuff, which is dope.
Yeah. I would have fucked with him if he, didn't die.
Well, shame on him for dying, huh?
Yeah, shame.
I would have fucked with him if he didn't die. Oh my god. That's so fucking funny. All right, well, this was our first episode of Umbrella Academy Review. So next week, you can expect our movie review to be about An American Pickle with Seth Rogen on HBO Max. It's a kick-ass movie, and I'm really excited to talk about it. Very, very funny.
An American Pickle.
An American Pickle. And then we're going to have a 2 Protect, 7 Attack next week. Yes, that's right. You're welcome. All the applause is appreciated. And then, Umbrella Academy Season 2, Episode 2. Watch that this week. Come back. We'll talk about it.
Bing, bang, boom.
Bing, bang, boom. Boop, bop. You'll get that if you watch American Pickle. All right. Peace, love, Bloom, and, of course, praise Keanu Reeves.
Yes.
Always do that, no matter what. I'm Colton Robertson. That's Tavares Pennington.
What's up?
This has been the Penny Bloom
Goodbye.
Podcast.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Peace.